Yes, Will.
Hello.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me again.
How are you?
You got me back. I'm well. How are you?
Good. I've had two major feelings today.
Oh, emotions. Go.
Number one, I've been excited to do this podcast with you ever since last week.
Oh,
to do it again.
how sweet.
Literally.
Oh.
I already feel
Me
like
too.
we should be. Yeah, I already feel like we should be doing it twice per week.
Ooh.
By the time it got to Tuesday, Wednesday, I was thinking I could say some things with Will again. I could.
Some more words have formed.
Yeah, I could say a thing or two now and again. And my other one is I've had stomachache all day.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Why? What are you doing wrong?
I've had another podcast before this
Oh, cool. Who?
at 10:30 a.m. with stress management expert Mark Nixon.
Okay.
And one of the things that we talked about a little bit, but that's also true, is stress causes IBS. So I was a bit worried about this podcast all day, a bit stressed about it.
After your meeting about stress.
No, before.
Okay.
Once the podcast got started, it was fine. Once we were talking back and forth, it was fine. But I always get a little bit stressed when I meet him because... One second, I'm going to cough.
Not on the mic. Not on the mic.
trying not
Not
to.
on the mic. You can't cough on the mic.
Just start talking,
I
I've
cough
got
on the
a
mic
tickly
and people
throat.
get angry.
One moment, let me take a sip of this tea.
I have to get all my coughs out of the way before the podcast starts so that I'm not a blubbering mess.
You've got a throat problem,
And
though.
you didn't do it.
I have,
I do.
no,
I
I have
can't-
no excuses.
I'm just a wheezy little kid. I can't breathe.
You have legitimate throat issues. I have no excuses.
You're crying now as well.
crying a
You're
little
in a
bit.
real
I'm crying.
emotional... Yeah.
I've been upset today, Will. I've been upset. But no, I get a little bit stressed when I'm talking to Mark Nixon anytime because he's so intelligent. It's like... I feel like a little chimpanzee.
And that's why you're not stressed talking to me. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You get it, that's what I'm saying. We're on the same
Yeah,
level.
oh, absolutely, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
You get it. He's hyper intelligent, and I knew that.
It's just, it's very...
Yeah.
With that kind of...
Yeah, he's going to use a lot of big words and
Yeah.
fast, and I'm going to have to try and be on it and in it and with it all at the same time. So that gives me stomachache, I'm not even kidding. So I've just been going all day having stomachache, but now I feel nice and relaxed talking to you.
Oh, nice. Did I have that effect on you? That's nice to know.
How have you been the week across? All good?
Hey, all good, man. Just excited to be back.
We've got health and fitness. I've not even said hello to the ladies and gentlemen at home.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for listening again, if anybody's tuned in. Or if
Yes.
anybody's tuned in again.
I see you, all two of you. Thank you.
We had a few listeners.
Yeah?
On episode 1.
Lovely.
I'll shout out Deborah Sands. I don't know if she'll watch this one. She's a lady on my
I
program.
know that name, I think.
I don't know. I don't know if you do. She's a lady on my program.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll watch
No,
this.
I think she came to or messaged me or something when we did a little collab. I don't know. Anyway, go on.
Maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know. She. I don't know if she'll listen to this episode or podcast, but she seems to listen to every single video that I do. So I'm just shout out. We've got one fan. She listened to last episode. I know she did.
We'll give her a t-shirt when they're in stock.
So we're back again. Health and fitness weekly news, if it's weekly health and fitness, that's like that's WHF, like it could be Will Hukin Fitness. Isn't
Wow.
it? Anyway, we're back once again. We've got I think 5 news topics of the week, and you don't know what any of them are, do you? Because we're all supposed to be, including Beth behind the camera, introduction as well.
Yeah, hi.
Collecting news topics
Yeah.
throughout the week, and you so far have contributed exactly 0.
This is weird, right? I'm weirdly not in the world of fitness and health, and because everyone's always asking me about sports as
What
well.
do you
Like,
mean?
what sports do I like? I'm like,
No, I don't like sports either.
what are all the introverted ones?
Sports.
Yeah.
Introverted ones.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm
Darts.
like,
Play at
I'm
home
like
on your
rock
own.
climbing, weightlifting, powerlifting, gymnastics, anything I can do
Why-
alone.
Solo sports.
Yeah.
I get that. I
And
get
same
that.
with fitness, but
Why, you're not a team player? What's going on?
no, people
solo
don't like
dolo?
me.
Ah.
I don't know. No, I just don't. I like relying on myself.
I don't like many sports either. I only like watching mixed martial arts like UFC
Yeah, you
fighting.
do
I don't
that.
do any of that
I don't,
business,
yeah.
but I like watching it. That's a solo sport. And I also like weightlifting, I suppose. That's solo, etc. I understand. That doesn't mean you're not in the world of health and fitness. You have clients every single day. What do you mean? They ask you questions, you teach them things.
Connor, I'm looking for an excuse, okay?
It's not working.
Hear my excuses and accept them.
All right. Well, luckily for you,
Luckily,
me
there's
and
two
Beth have
professionals
actually
here.
been doing what we agreed we were going to do, and we actually found some news topics. So, are you prepared, Beth?
Yes.
Are you prepared on the computer? All right. Hit us with news topic number 1 of the week. What's been going on? I believe it's week 40 of the year, but I might be wrong.
So, first news topic is Dr. Tro and Lane Norton did a nutrition debate for charity on the 25th of September, and they discussed is sugar harmful, can restrictive diets cause eating disorders, and do diets as low carb and low fat generally work the same way?
So do you know
One word answer or what?
Do you know Dr. Tro?
No, not by name.
Thank you, Bethany, for the news article of the week.
Perfectly.
That's not his that's not his full name. That's, I think, Tro's his first name. His second name begins with K, and I honestly can't remember it. Do you know Lane Norton?
Very well.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I'm not quite under a rock.
They had a debate for charity. I'm not sure what that involves.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that part out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that involved, but that's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can't say no to charity, can you? But I'm not sure what that involves, to be honest. And I will also say I've not listened to it, even though it's the news article of the week. And I plan to.
But that's the thing, though. Is those things, it gets to the point where you don't listen, you just know what they said.
I already know what I think about it.
I already know what they said.
Right.
I know what you've just said. I already know exactly what conversation they had and exactly what my opinion of it is. That's just, and I know you know the same.
This is also
me.
I know Lane Norton, not
exactly.
not personally.
Like yeah.
But he's one of the most evidence-based, best, old school, but top of the line.
Also progressive.
Definitely.
Yeah, which is just the main thing.
And current.
Yeah.
And just best all-around fitness knowledge people for health, fitness, fat loss, muscle building, powerlifting. And
then I don't want to assume that Tro's anything less. What's he like?
I don't know him. I don't know him. I googled him briefly. Seemed to be a low carbohydrate sort of guy. But honestly, I don't know. I only read a couple of articles. I'm not entirely sure. Like you said, I already knew what position Lane Norton was going to take, and I already know what the correct answers to these questions are, regardless of what. I don't know. Dr. Tro's the only part in the, no offense to him, in the equation that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, it's like you're assessing him a bit.
So, like you said in the debate, I know what Lane Norton's going to say.
Yeah.
Like, is sugar harmful? What do you think?
I mean, it's just too much of a. There's not enough context behind the question, really, to say yes or no.
All right, fair. I feel like you're skirting around the question, but
well, it's not my avenue as well. But I mean, in large quantities,
do you eat
yeah,
sugar? Well, exactly.
So in large quantities, yes, as is anything, as part of a balanced diet, no.
Okay, I like that answer. I see you've been nice and politically correct there. I like that.
Yeah, I'm on camera, bro. I'm not.
and you're not wrong. You're not wrong either, because if you have too much sugar for too long, that does turn into like type 2 diabetes style problems, doesn't it? And if somebody who's got or getting type 2 diabetes has too high blood sugar for too long, it can start to, its sugar molecules inside your bloodstream are literally acidic, and it can start to melt your veins from the inside out. And that's,
I didn't know that. That's nice.
That's why people lose legs and toes and stuff from diabetes, because the small veins at the ends of like your toes and stuff,
your extremities, they don't get as much blood.
Yeah, they get the thinner veins start to melt fastest because they're thinner and have less structure to them, I assume. So too much sugar, can be bad, but by
and large, no. If I had to say a given answer,
but by and large, no. In most settings, no. Yeah, but like you said as well, too much of anything can kind of be a bad thing, can't it? Like if you drink 6 liters of water without stopping really fast, you can drown yourself from the inside out and you can die.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean drinking water's bad, does it? No, it means learn to swim and go steady with yourself.
No.
A knife. Not good or bad, depends what you're doing with it. Cutting a cake.
Yeah, good. Great.
Happy birthday.
Well done.
Stabbing.
Yeah.
Stabbing people. No. Okay.
Not
So it's context, isn't it?
As with everything.
Yeah, but is sugar bad? No. Your body needs sugar to some extent. Doesn't fully need sugar, but if you don't eat any sugar, your body just makes sugar out of the protein that you eat anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called glucose.
Exactly. I mean,
Genesis.
It's a process. It can't not particularly. It happens.
Yeah, you need sugar to fuel your brain.
Yeah.
You also need sugar to run your muscles and stuff like this. You can run them on ketones, but it's not preferred.
It's painful.
It's a bit of effort.
Yeah.
For you if you do it on purpose.
Yeah.
If you're just in a starvation sort of mode, if you actually were starving to death, then ketones are good because they keep your brain going and without you having any carbohydrates. It's why it exists as like a backup method. But if you don't eat any sugar, that doesn't mean your brain doesn't like sugar or want sugar, so it just gets the protein. And
also just hard to not eat any sugar.
Yes, in a normal Western diet.
Yeah.
Also, and it also depends what you class as sugar as well, because all carbohydrates are technically sugar. So even broccoli's sugar.
Yeah.
It's just like there's simple and complex carbohydrates, like we've heard about this. What that means is short or longer chain of sugar. But and in its constituent, most broke down part of it, every single carbohydrate that you eat breaks down into like glucose, fructose, or galactose, or something, or lactose, something like this, some different base sugars. So if you're going to say sugar's out and out bad, then you have to say like vegetables are bad.
A lot of backing up to do.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
And it's I mean, it said as well about what restrictive dieting or something.
Yeah, what was the other one? Was it restrictive dieting can cause eating disorders?
Can restrictive diets cause eating disorders?
Okay,
Yes.
what do you think about it? I think yes.
I think yes, definitely.
I also think yes.
Yeah, I think in two ways. One as an immediate effect, like I can't cite a specific example. I probably wouldn't want to, but yeah, if you are restrictively eating and you've only got access to certain foods, then that to an extent could already be classed as an eating disorder if it was bad enough.
If it's upsetting you, but you're still doing it in a way.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
it's causing issues.
And then there's the other sort of the byproduct that you could get from it, which would be the replacement food that you would end up putting in because of a restriction you'd put in place. Take how keto promotes higher like fat and meat and things like that food, and therefore higher chances of say heart disease or something, something like that. Or if it would just be a simple eating disorder, like, I mean, you wouldn't think it by removing food you could get fatter, but it's that getting in that sort of thought loop of, oh, I've removed food so I can eat what I want, and then that developing into something else,
It definitely can do, yeah. There's also a high prevalence of eating disorders in bodybuilding, sort of physique style, fitness models and dieting. There's been historic eating disorders in like, what are they called, like catwalk models? I don't know, like what... extremely slim like fashion models,
especially for females.
Yeah, that's
what
I mean
down
for females
into
as well.
The body percentages, body fat percentages that are going to start having long-term effects to the ability to carry a child or something like that.
Health,
that's an issue.
You can get amenorrhea, which is...
And just in general, I think when you could have an exclusive diet and then decide using that as like your ceiling and you could then decide not to eat certain things just as and when. Why would you choose an exclusive diet just right off the bat? Why without any kind of day-to-day sort of assessment, why would you just say, I can't eat this?
People think it's simpler and easier.
Basically.
That's literally the answer.
The issue there is then just, okay, do a bit more research.
It's simpler, but
figure
it's not
out
easier.
that you don't need to do that, and then you'll just be happier for it.
Yeah, it's easier because it's worse. It is easier. Like if like people message me, can I buy a meal plan? And I'm like, no.
Also no from me.
And they say, but I just want somebody to tell me what to eat because that's easier. And yes, it is in the short term to just follow it like a robot, but you're not a robot, you're a human.
Work.
No, you're going to get sick of it.
It's not even going to work from my point of view. I don't know what you had for breakfast today. If I was trying to plan that for you, I'd probably get it all wrong. In
True,
terms
you
of
don't
what
know
you'd
what
enjoy.
I like to eat necessarily, no?
Sorry?
You don't know what I like to eat or what my calorie intake should really
And
be.
considering the consistency is the most important thing when it comes to dieting, I'd want no one else to pick someone's diet other than themselves, so that they can decide what they want to eat, decide that it's something they can consistently
Yeah, but then that
stick
takes a little
to.
bit of effort, doesn't it? Because you've got to learn about food.
No, everyone's been eating since the day they were born. You know what you like. Just fucking eat less of it and stop being stupid. I don't know. There's
People
more.
find it effort.
Yeah, they do.
They have to learn a bit about food and just not be just told.
But do you find the funny thing is that you have to teach people a lot about food for them to understand that the first 3 things they've learned were the only things they needed to know, and then they can kind of forget everything you have taught them and be like, oh, okay, I guess that is all that matters, and then go back to that.
Yes.
It's quite funny, isn't it? The only
Yes.
reason they need to know more is because they need context to know why the simplest way is, and the least information is probably the best.
Yes, that's really interesting, and that's also true for quite a lot of different things in life. Like I saw an identical analogy the other day. Again, with mixed martial arts, somebody said the same about jiu-jitsu. They said the more jiu-jitsu moves you learn, the less you'll use. And that's because the more you learn, the more you'll know which ones specifically work better for you, and then you can stick with what works for you. So I like my members on my fat loss program, if they want to go through periods of trial and error. With if they say to me, what about intermittent fasting? Is it good and would it work for me? I say it can work sometimes for some people. Do you want to try it or not? And we can try it for a week or 2. see if you like it or not. And they might not like it, but then they know, okay, fasting's not for them, maybe not at that minute in time.
Yeah, it's if you just prefacing it as kind of, yeah, it works, as like on paper, it can't not work. The variable being, if you enjoy it and want to do it consistently,
Neither of
that's
us
all
know
I
this,
care
do they?
about.
Neither of us know this, so
And
we're
then,
going to try.
yeah, and then that is what makes it good or bad. Same thing as what I said before, it's the specificity that makes things good or bad in one way or another. It's the same in the gym. It was only maybe like in the last year or something that I as a PT became confident enough to not have to worry about variation with my clients week to week, to keep them enthused and engaged with the session, and more just focus on learning the basics and just learning the kind of picking an exercise for every body part and then just sticking at it and focus on getting good at it rather than hopping around between all of them like most PTs like to do. And then you don't have a sort of a constant variable to progressively overload off. If you spend every week you do 2 different chest exercises and it takes you 5 weeks until you get back to doing the first 2, you've got 5 weeks until you've able to look at the exact same thing and see if you've progressed from it or not. Whereas just, boiling it down to the raw simplicity and then giving a client the option to choose, because I always say it's like a little pick and mix. We'll just start with these exercises that work, and there are 10 different exercises for each one of them as a substitute that you can change if you don't like it. So if you don't like it, I'd say try it for 3 weeks, and then if you still don't like it, then we'll change it. And similar kind of thing with food as well, just try it again. I always think if you immediately don't like it, you've just got to think, well, no, of course you're not going to like it. It's, first of all, it is hard.
Change is always difficult.
Yeah, so wait until it could possibly be nice, and then decide that
give
you
it a
don't
week
like
or
it.
2, yeah. Give it a few sessions.
Exactly.
Then see how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good what you said about personal training, because most personal trainers are using variation as a way to, quote unquote, keep the client entertained and interested, because most clients, unless they're educated on what they're trying to achieve, would think that variation is a good principle of training. Like, people would think if you do lots of different things every single time, that sounds like a good thing. But it's not really a good thing, is it? As you're saying, what you're really there for is to use the exercises as a tool to achieve the result, and things that achieve results better are things that are consistent. So it's better to pick a few things that work well for you, and then just hammer the basics.
The funny thing is, it's just common sense as well. I'm talking about the variation. I always say, and this is I think a good thing that a lot of PTs should reverse engineer from, is that you want enough variation across a week to make sure you've hit everything from enough different angles and under enough different stimuluses and with enough different training techniques, but then you have enough consistency week to week to know that you're progressing and to have constant variables that you can rely on as not changing, so that you can progress the only thing that you're caring about, which is your strength. Whereas if things are always changing, this, that, and that's why you have like checkpoint, whatever you'd call them, in exercises, like why you touch your chest when you're benching, why you hit depth when you're doing a squat, your knee to the floor when you're lunging, so that you know that exercise is constantly that exact same exercise. If I'm that far off my chest, and this is the argument that the bros like to make, is like, oh, it means I can shift a little bit more weight, so that's good. It's like, yeah, cool, but then next week you're that far off your chest, and then you're that far off your chest, and you think you're getting stronger, but you're just making the exercise easier, and that's why you're getting better at it, not because you're getting stronger, but because it's easier. Find a constant variable, stick to it, and progressively overload off of it, and yeah, that works.
That's not common sense, though. That's smart
No?
shit. No. You also...
Well, common sense ain't common, eh?
No, that's true. They also, by not using full range of motion, they're just not understanding the principles of what's important, because the thing that makes progress is volume. Overall, if it's strength, you're trying to lift more, so that's more volume, probably. And for muscle building, it's volume increase, isn't it? Like progressive overload increase.
Volume and tensile stimulus.
Yeah, and volume is sets times reps times weight times distance.
There you go.
That's the one.
The one that people fucking forget about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so if I bench 100 for 10, that's 1,000 kilos of volume. But if you bench 100 for 10 and you only go halfway down,
which I do, I'm one of those guys.
You only moved the bar half as far, so you only did half as much work. You only moved the weight half as far through space as I did, so I did more than you.
And just who wants to be an immobile gorilla walking around? Like, no. Like, when you could just lift it properly and get strong at that.
That's a very good point, because a lot of people think that if you build muscle and you lift weights, it makes your muscles tighter, which it does temporarily because you're sore the day after. But overall, if you use good technique and you go all the way down, it takes a decent amount of flexibility to actually be able to get a bar nicely to your chest anyway. And it takes a good amount of flexibility to be able to squat to the bottom with a nice posture, doesn't it? So by squatting with weights and building strength in these positions, it increases like mobility, doesn't it? It makes you stronger through movement.
And it not only is it like a positive, doing the opposite is as far the other direction a negative, in the sense of it's not healthy, like, because you've got like active strength, which is the range of motion around a joint that you are actively strong in, and then there's like passive range of motion, which is like I can like bring my foot up to here, I have that flexibility, but I don't have the active strength to get it there without pulling it, if that makes sense. However much
does make sense.
Yeah, so however much passive range of motion you can kind of translate into active range of motion that you can work through, the healthier your joints will be.
Yeah, because I can sit.
You're
like,
really good for this shit.
I can sit lotus position. Like, I can't do it in this chair because the chair's too small. But I can sit lotus position like this. But I can do it with both legs as well. But I have to pull it with my hand into that
you
position.
You can possibly get there without it. Yeah.
No, but my client Harry can do the lotus position without even using his hands.
So his passive strength.
He just sits there and he just goes, and his legs go into the position. I'm like, how's that real?
And you can train for those kind of things. There's one that I'm doing, which is an internal rotation exercise, because my internal rotation is crap for my hips. Internal rotation is like that, turning you like that way. Mine's really bad. You should be able to, like, again, passively, so someone doing it for you, like turn your leg out to like that kind of degree. So what I've been doing as an active strengthening is just holding this here, sitting down when I'm warming up for squats or something, and then turning my leg as far as I can that way. Wait until I get like a cramp in my TFL, and then come back. And that's me training to get strong in that, what is currently a passive range of motion, as in I'm piss weak in it, and that isn't healthy for my joints, so I'm trying to fix it because I'm really bad at it.
This makes perfect sense to me as well, because I'm also not going to be able to do this in the chair, but I've also been laying down with my feet tucked all the way in and my legs really wide, and then using my own hands as resistance and doing internal, like pushing it around for a really wide stretch and then going in, just to train my inner groin, because as you know, I've had like hip problems, and I've been told by a physio that I need to do lots of just like hip strengthening things just overall.
And that's why that's why you don't want to do you don't want to statically stretch for too long before you train at least the muscles that you intend on producing power out of, because then you stretch to the point that you're in you've already got a passive range of motion that you're not active in, and then you stretch that even further to the point that you've created even more temporarily, and then you go and try and train through that strength, that range of motion that
sounds good, as long as you're careful,
created. It's like you've got no strength there, you've got no stability there, so you need to get there gradually, if that makes sense.
It does. The number one thing Greg from your gym group, and from White House Physiotherapy Clinic, the great and powerful, the one and only, taught me is that for flexibility issues, usually a tight muscle is a weak muscle, and generally. And I said to him, but my hamstrings always feel tight, but they are definitely not weak because I train them twice a week. There's no way they're weak, but they always feel tight. So then what's that about? 'Cause they're not, and he said, well, they are weak based on the force that they have to deal with because you're always training them hard.
Specifically, they're strong, That's kind of what he's saying.
Yeah, generally they're strong, but for the work that I put them through, they're not, because I'm always training to failure and doing like hard work with them. So that's making them feel tight constantly, where really if I relaxed off on the training a little bit, the flexibility would be a lot easier and increase.
But then also that as right as that could be, it could just be nothing to do with that. And that fact still exists of tight muscles and weaknesses and whatnot. But it could just be different. Like, you can say, my hamstrings are tight, but they're strong. So what's going on there? It doesn't have to be the same thing. Like, you could just have tight and also strong hamstrings.
True.
Separately.
Yeah.
You've got to consider that as a possibility.
Yeah, that's also definitely true. Yeah, and they've got unbelievably better. Like, I can easily do these type of things.
Yeah, that's decent. I've gotten better as well. My
just
stiff leg started, and active stress. Stretching via the stiff leg deadlift is kind of what's improved mine. Which is
is it really? Mine's like just normal, literally schoolyard This kind of
Cute little yoga poses.
yeah,
Nice.
literally basic stretching.
Yeah.
This is nothing to do with the news or what we were talking
I was
about
thinking that for the last 5
whatsoever.
minutes.
But thank you for all that lovely information.
Little tangent. What's next?
We'll go. Well, let's just do a summary. Sugar's not bad for you. Sugar's also not addictive. So if
and then the last part of that was cross-comparing, say, a low-fat versus low keto diet.
no, low fat versus a low carb diet.
Sorry, low carb diet, a keto diet, and does that have an impact? Depends what you're trying to do. If it's fat loss, no. Moving on.
Hey, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any
Depends
difference.
if you're doing it. If you want to eat less carbs, keto is going to be better. If you don't care and your goal is just fat loss and you can equate calories between the two, then you'll lose fat at the exact same rate, but you might lose a bit more weight if you go into an immediate ketogenic approach because you'll lose more things than fat. But don't confuse.
I'm supposed to be the nutritionist on this podcast, Will.
Well, fucking hurry up and go there. Come on.
No, you're not giving all the cool answers. Acting like you know it all because you do. Sitting over there in
Sorry,
that red
I
chair.
didn't know the things about sugar. That was cute from you. Well, nice.
Thank you. I'm going to say something useful.
Does he hate me now?
I'm going to say something useful. You're making me feel devalued on my own podcast, Will.
Sorry. You're the one with the footstool.
I know.
I haven't got there
I know,
yet.
I'm
I haven't upgraded to this point in life.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, footstool.
I'm sorry
Got to
about
bring
that.
my own slippers.
We're still making studio improvements steadily. It's steady studio improvements.
Believe it when I see it.
All your information, though, was extremely impressive and correct.
What do you have to add to that about the keto versus?
I would say, again, it depends what your goal is. If you're doing muscle building or strength, maybe not strength training as much, but if you're doing muscle building, probably a bit more carbs is better.
Yeah.
If you're doing running, you probably could do with some carbs.
Yeah.
If you're doing just office work and fat loss, then yeah, it makes no difference really.
No,
You can do
yeah.
whatever you prefer. For health issues, it makes no difference really either. A lot of people harp on like, oh, low carbohydrates is great for anti-inflammatory, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, magical cures for things, and it's not true.
Yeah, I've actually, one of my clients has been following, not quite keto, just a low, like under 20 grams a day of carbs.
That's
diet.
keto diet, I reckon.
Yeah, so that probably would be classed as carb, and obviously that's mainly from veg and stuff like that. And she's had phenomenal results. She's been doing real well, but she's also very aware that it isn't a long-term solution. So she's got about another 6 weeks of it planned before she's coming off of it.
Results for what?
Fat loss, sorry.
Oh, she just likes it for fat loss.
Yeah, just
yeah,
for
yeah.
her, it's just an easy way to take food out of
She
it.
could keep it as a long-term solution if she wanted to.
Could do,
She
yeah,
could do.
but doesn't want to.
It's
For
tough
her,
on your lifestyle.
She's found she's had so many like muscular cramps when she's like in bed, like a cramp, or wake her up at night.
Really?
And I think I didn't know this. She was telling me it's magnesium deficiency
I was going to say increase salts in the diet.
and
maybe not
sodium and
specific-
things.
Yeah,
and,
sodium.
yeah,
maybe
that
not
kind of
specific.
shit.
Could be magnesium, but
That's
she's-
interesting. I'll relay that to her.
yeah, she get her to take a multivitamin. If anybody cuts out a lot of food groups in the diet, get them to take a multivitamin.
Again, part of my argument for why an inclusive diet is always better than an exclusive diet. It's kind of like,
That's a very good point.
What my granddad used to teach me, a different topic, but he was a woodworker, and when we came to like sawing something, he'd be like, always cut a little less off than you think, because you can always take more off. And it's the same with an inclusive diet. You can always decide then not to eat something that day, whereas an exclusive diet, you are immediately setting walls in place that limit you from eating for certain food, which sure you can break them, but then you'll feel bad about it. So I just don't quite personally get it, but I don't need to understand the psychology behind it to appreciate it that works for other people. So that's
Yeah, I understand. I would say increase salt in a diet.
Yeah, I'll tell her.
That's probably nobody really knows why cramps exist that solidly. It's a bit of an unknown thing, but low salt in the diet is a very common correlation, and it usually comes not from low carb, but from when people clean up their diet a lot, because we don't get much salt in our diet in healthy foods and home cooked foods really. And even if you get a salt grinder and you go like on your chips or whatever, that is not a lot of salt. That's like it might taste like a lot, and you might have in it, but that's in grams. That's a very low amount of salt compared to what your body could have, and what you get from junk food. Like if you had a McDonald's, you'll get grams and grams and grams, or a Domino's pizza, you'll get grams and grams and grams of salt, or bags of crisps and stuff like that.
Okay, I have enough
So
crisps.
much
That's
salt.
fine. I'm healthy then, guys. I have crisps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might help with the cramps. But if somebody cleans up their diet loads and they take out all these junky processed style foods and they go like on a clean diet sort of thing, quote unquote, Like if this lady's having no carbs, I assume she's basically having no junk food, unless she's just eating doner kebab.
She's
meat as
doing
a
real
standard.
well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm absolutely happy with her doing doing keto, is because it's not under the illusion that the fat loss is because of the keto.
She just likes it.
She knows, and
some people
the
see less
substitutes that
hunger on
she's
it.
making are just really nice, good choices.
Healthy foods.
You know, it's not the danger that you see a lot of like vegans falling
Yeah.
into, which is that vegan fast food is so available, and
Vegan brownies and cakes and ice cream.
you know what I mean, things that like
Yeah.
it's a nice trick to your brain to be like, that's healthy because it's vegan,
Yeah.
whereas it's, you know, the amount of other shit that could be
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
just junk food.
Yeah, if we were vegan and equating calories and macros and
Yeah.
fiber and all that kind of, none of
Yeah.
it was missed, we all know that's going to be better, but the
Yeah.
issue comes when people are vegan and then just take all
Vegan
the
junk food
vegan
eaters.
junk food.
Like chips, and you can
Like if
just
you go to
get,
Iceland, really nice vegan section,
yeah.
none of it's healthy.
Yeah, you can. Chips are vegan. You can get vegan pizza, or
Hell yeah.
you can order from Domino's with no cheese on it.
Yeah.
'Cause
My brother's vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you eat loads of vegetables,
Well,
it's fantastic.
recently.
And you should take a protein shake and a B
Yeah.
vitamin.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of other bits. Maybe you should take a multivitamin really and a B vitamin. And
But
have a
again, that's
protein
more or
shake
less
and
just
stuff.
everyone.
Yeah, it could, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're cutting out loads of food groups again, like vegans. It's good and it's loads of healthy food, and hopefully you've cut out loads of crap as well. But it's also cutting out loads of other stuff that has vitamins and minerals in it, so it makes it difficult to cover all your nutrients. So you get a multivitamin. Anyway, what do you think? Next,
Moving
next topic of the week.
What we got there?
else has been in the news?
So next topic is vitamin D reduces infection and impact of COVID-19.
I put this in on purpose.
I've heard of this.
I put this in on purpose.
Well done, I'm proud of you.
I've also posted about it on my Facebook page loads, and I'm just beating a dead horse, I understand, but I just wanted to say it again, just in case anybody listens to this video, because it's good damn information. I've even brought my own vitamin D. Look at this is how easy it is. This is vitamin D breath spray.
Oh, you got the breath spray.
It's mint breath spray off Amazon. You go like this, done. That's how you take your vitamin D.
Well,
No, you can't, it's COVID,
share
you can't
then.
have it now. But that's 3,000 IU. That's a strong dose.
IU.
International units just means units. It's just what it is. Which is a strong dose, and I've been saying that people should take vitamin D for COVID since way before Sky News this week, literally like 6 months ago. I said this shit 6 months ago.
Yeah?
I said it so early on my Facebook page that I was getting private messages and people were commenting on my shit saying that I was trying to use fear-mongering by putting out COVID scare information to try and make money and get people to join my program. Firstly, fuck you. Sorry for swearing. Secondly, I'm right. That's why. I don't say stuff that's
Secondly,
wrong.
fuck you again, because I'm
just-
right.
I'm just right.
Yeah.
That's just what it's about, though.
Because it's just a fact, isn't it?
It is. I teach about vitamin D in my 6 Steps to Slim.
And that was before COVID, so as if you need another excuse to
I've
take
always
it.
I've always
Yeah.
been telling most of my members were taking vitamin D since way before COVID anyway, because it's just an excellent thing to do. If you take a multivitamin, that's not good enough. There's no vitamin D really. It'll say it on the back, but the amount's tiny. Because vitamin D is fat soluble like a fish oil. So and a multivitamin is a hard pressed pill.
It's liquid form.
Yeah.
Is it better?
The vitamin D is like a liquid,
Yeah.
and the multivitamin's a hard pressed pill, and you can't get the liquid into the pill. So there's no real vitamin D in a multivitamin, so you need to take a vitamin D separately. Everybody in this country basically is vitamin D deficient,
Yeah.
even if you go outside a lot, because we wear clothes. You can't make it through clothes, windows, clouds. You can't make it when the sun's at less than a 25-degree angle this way or this way. So you can only make it at lunchtime when we're mostly all at work or in the gym. You've even got hair that blocks it. I at least get 5% more sun area.
You've got a
than you.
tactical surface area.
Exactly,
advantage.
yeah, exactly. It's how I keep my health on the go.
That's why you did it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just good for every single thing in your life. It's not even technically a vitamin.
And now COVID, it's good for as well. So
Yeah, because it's good
bottoms
for
up, boys.
it's good for every single thing in your body.
Yeah.
It's technically a hormone, not a vitamin. It's just called vitamin D.
I don't know that.
Yeah, because our body makes it, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
We make
Yeah.
hormones. We don't make vitamins and minerals.
I hadn't
we have
considered
to eat,
that, yeah.
Yeah, we have to eat.
Makes
We have to eat vitamins and minerals. We make hormones, so it's a hormone because we actually make it. It's just called vitamin D because somebody discovered vitamin A. This is literally how it went.
And then they just went.
Yeah,
add it
somebody
on the end.
discovered B vitamins, the
Yeah.
next group of these that were similar. Then somebody discovered vitamin C, and then somebody discovered another thing in fruit. found it in fruit and was like, oh, this is another molecule that's new. Thought it was vitamin D, yeah, and then figured out later that it wasn't actually a vitamin technically. It's
so who cares?
No, it makes no difference. Really.
It all intents and purposes.
But it does highlight its importance because there's only really, and I'll shut up about this after and we'll go on to the next topic, but there's only really two things that almost every single cell in your entire body has a receptor for. Nearly every single cell. One of them's T3, which is your thyroid hormone. It's thyroxine. That gives energy to cells. So it's like having a little key starter or an engine. Every cell needs energy so it can get T3. The other one's vitamin D. So if you're vitamin D deficient, there is no function in your entire body. You can think of anything the body does, thinking, moving, digesting, producing, anything. Yeah, but what does it affect that? Yes. And what about, yes, also that every single thing you can think of in the world will be worse. They even show it in fat loss. There's even fat loss studies where if you look at people's vitamin D levels and fat loss results, people with low vitamin D levels get less fat loss. No one can technically show why, even in the correlations.
You don't need to know though, so long as you know.
Strength and muscle building. People with higher vitamin D build more strength and build more muscle. It's in all your immune system cells, all of them. So it boosts your it doesn't boost your immune system, but it makes sure your immune system's as healthy and strong as it should be because you're providing the immune system with a big part of what it needs to actually have its strength with it. So it's just super important.
Yeah, I didn't know that about it. That's interesting.
It's really, really important as a functionality thing for your entire body. So I always harp on about it, always. And it's also massive for depression. Have you heard of winter blues? This is the last point I'll make and I will shut up. You heard of winter blues or seasonal affective disorder? Sad disorder, which is just, that's whoever names it.
I mean, everyone has it to an extent.
You're upset,
all it means is winter sucks.
You're upset and then whoever names it makes a joke out of the thing that's upsetting you by calling it sad. It's like, come on.
Like when whoever
they used to
discovered dyslexia decided to spell it.
Oh, that's so true as well.
Or lisp.
Oh,
come on, guys.
That's true.
Come on, guys. That's not cool.
These are just burners, aren't they?
Yeah.
They used to sit you in front of a giant light. Like we've got light, not these exact ones, but a UV A or B. I can't remember exactly which one it is. Producing light for seasonal affective disorder. But why? Just to make your body produce vitamin D. What's different in the winter? It's colder. What does that do? Nothing. You live inside. Oh, I don't like it when it rains. Well, no one does. No one does. What do you mean?
I mean, that's what I always explain seasonal affective disorder as, is just winter sucks a little bit.
Some people genuinely have it
really
vitamin
bad.
D deficiency.
Yeah.
So if you fix your vitamin D deficiency, you don't have to sit in front of a giant light. Just take the supplement. Even in summer, just take the supplement. There's no such thing as getting too much, really. It's not really possible. It's absorbed into your body fat, and then the next time you need it or don't have enough, your body just releases it.
Yeah. Because I would argue I never... Like the amount, I mean, especially in winter, the amount of sun that I see. Because in summer, maybe up a bit because you actually actively try and get out in the sun.
You work a lot indoors.
I'm indoors all day. I walk there at dark in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm pottering around during the day and that, but I'm always only exposed from here upwards. I'm always head to toe in like trousers and something. And then I finish at 9 tonight. I'm going to walk home in the dark as well. You know, I'm not going to... And the walk home, I could throw myself home how far it is. So you know.
So it's safe to take it. Yeah. You can't really get too much because your body just saves it till later. Yeah. Because your body saves it till later, you don't have to take it every day. I usually take it like once a week, and I'll just blast that into my mouth like 10 times, which is more than a week's worth, and just leave it until next Monday-ish. Yeah, it just absorbs into your body fat, and then when you need it, it's slowly released back out because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. Hence, it needing to be in like a fish oil thing, like I said.
Damn. Okay.
And it's just good, it's just important, people should just take it. This thing is by Better You, it's on Amazon. If you put in vitamin D spray, it'll just come up. It's like 12 quid and it lasts a long time.
And this is not a sponsored segment.
No, it's not, even though they are a company in Barnsley, you know, that have...
No way!
Yeah, not even that far from us, that have actually done really well and produced one of the best vitamin companies that exists, and they've made this cool little... They do a multivitamin spray, they do magnesium specific spray, they do all kinds of stuff. Really good.
Yeah, interesting. I'll look into that. Because one thing that I'm always constantly aware of, and it's the one thing that I'm really bad at doing, is taking my vitamins.
Me too. I've got multivitamins upstairs, and I never really take them. Yeah. I like that spray because the novelty value of it, the novelty factor of it being a spray, makes me more inclined to take it. Yeah, because I don't want to take 10. They're only it's such an excuse because they're so tiny, the vitamin D tablets. You can get 2 years worth for 15 quid on Amazon.
You just forget, innit? It's not like I'm not going to take that today. It just doesn't occur.
The thing about vitamin D though is you could take it once a month. You could take 30 in one go and then just leave it.
A year?
The longest studies I've ever seen is 6 months in
6 months it is.
in elderly people's care homes and stuff like that, where people have Alzheimer's and dementia and they can't be quote unquote trusted. I'm probably using the wrong word. Or there's not necessarily
Not politically correct, Connor.
Probably not. They're probably not going to remember to take the tablet, or there might be an issue with that. They give them like a vitamin D bazooka.
Oh God!
They just go boom boom and
Oh
just
God,
blast
that's
them
definitely
with
not
vitamin D. Literally, they do. Not
In the face of
not
old people.
Not a spray. Yeah, they just pound them with 6 months worth in one go, and then just leave it till 6 months later. There's a little bit of evidence that that's mildly less effective, but not much.
Interesting.
It's better to take it
I didn't know that. That's
daily
really cool.
or something,
Yeah.
but weekly is fine and stuff like that. Anyway, so I just wanted to say it 'cause it's just important. It's just good for your health. Just take it. I'm just right about it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What we got next?
What do we think, B?
So, third story is about Brits taking an hour and a half to fully wake up and using things like coffee, cold water, walking, social media, etc., to help themselves wake up.
So Brits take on average, what does this say, 1.5 hours to wake up properly. I believe this.
I could believe that.
It's the same for me. I get to the gym 7 a.m. today. I get up at 5.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm lifting weights or being at the gym like 5 minutes after waking up. People complain all the time, especially people who are older. I'm just going to say the stereotype. Oh, I feel like crap in the morning. I'm like, yes, me too. And I'm supposed to be young, fit and athletic. You think I don't feel like crap in the morning? I wake up, was zombie around for like 15 minutes, pee, drink a giant glass of water.
Then it hits the coffee.
Yeah, sit on the floor and make dad noises. And then like, I literally, my flexibility now, I can, if I bend down, I don't want to hurt the microphone, make a loud noise on the microphone, but I can, with a little bit of warming up, easily get my chest down to my knees. In the morning,
Not
I'm like
first
this.
thing in the morning.
No, I'm like this.
Hell no.
I'm like I call it the zombie.
And this is fun for you to watch, I imagine. yeah.
I'm just making just like, and then rolling around on the floor, just having to do like a little bit of a stretch out, then drink a coffee.
And was there a question? Or was
It just people just saying it. The study just showed it took an hour and a half to wake up.
Yeah, I can absolutely believe that. And with the assistances of coffee, walking, this, that, and the other.
Walking helps me. I like walking to the gym, even though it's only like 10 minutes from here. It freshens me up a little bit, especially if it's nice cold, clear morning without much wind and no rain or anything this morning. So it's a nice little freshener up.
Yeah, the breeze on your face, that's what would do it for me. Yeah, coffee obviously works well, but that is something that you can become responsive to. So it's good to deload off of that. Yeah. As in chemically, like what portion of caffeine was once enough to wake you up will not be after a certain amount of time.
Do you want a top tip for fixing that?
Deload.
Yeah, if you take 1 day off caffeine fully per week, that stops your tolerance getting too bad.
Yeah, and then if you're looking to do rehab, not prehab, just like a week every couple months or something, it'll probably do it. Or 2 probably. Probably close to 2 weeks.
Yeah, caffeine's good, isn't it? People love it, but it's a real drug. It's an actual real drug.
Yeah.
It's not a very strong drug. It's an actual real one.
It's on the spectrum. Yeah, it's just way down there.
Yeah, it's a weak stimulant. Yeah. Basically, so you do have to be a little bit careful.
So all you drug addicts, calm it down.
Do you know what the safety limit for caffeine is per day?
No, but a study comes to mind. What is it?
1,000 milligrams per day, so a gram of caffeine.
Because I read a study where that they fucked up, where they were trying to give people, I think, 3 grams of caffeine to see what would happen with like a high dosage kind of thing, and someone messed it up and put the point in the wrong place and gave them 30.
You can die from stuff like that.
And yeah, they very much came close to dying. We're talking like heart attacks and stuff.
Yeah, you can nearly die from stuff like that. I used to know someone a long time ago who had some powdered caffeine bought from My Protein. This is like a bodybuilder guy, and his son, who was quite young, I'm not remembering the entire story, got the protein scooper and had a protein scoop of caffeine rather than a protein scoop of protein.
Damn.
And drank it and then ended up in hospital.
Yeah, I can believe that. I mean, even if I just have, if it's a Sunday morning and I wake up and have a coffee and then I don't eat immediately, then I have another coffee when I do eat an hour later, and then I have a cup of tea at lunch or something, my hands will feel jittery.
Really?
Just after that, yeah. After the third one.
You're weak.
I'll be like, weak, yeah.
You need more training.
Agreed. Not
weak.
British enough. No.
No, it's weak. 1,000 milligrams is like 20 coffees.
Damn.
For like the safety limit. Like a normal home coffee, this is a tea, but a normal home coffee would be like 50 milligrams. Do you know that Starbucks has double the amount of caffeine than any other coffee shop? Costa's the lowest. Costa has the lowest caffeine. Then it's like Cafe Nero, and the other ones are kind of similar, like Pret and stuff. And then Starbucks has double.
That's a bit mad, that.
They go up to like 150 milligrams or something for the big one. A can of Monster is 250 milligrams. So if you had 4 of those a day, that'd be maxing it out. So with like home coffees, it's fine. If you're having big energy drinks, big fat Monsters, you know, those huge ones, they're like 250. That's like 5 home coffees in one go. They're raw power. It's a bit dirty, that one. It's too powerful. So many chemicals and stuff as well.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
not bad
I know
for you, but
someone
it's
who
not
has about
good for you
5 of
either.
them a day as well.
It's not bad for you necessarily, but it's not good for you
5 a
either.
day.
But if you have the full sugar ones, it might be a bit much
Yeah.
sugar. But it depends. Anyway, it depends. Pre-workouts go up to 500 sometimes.
Yeah, they're a bit. I don't like pre-workouts.
I don't agree with it either.
When you could just have a good sleep routine, good nutrition, good hydration.
That's exactly it, dude. If you need more than a strong coffee to get you through your workout, you should probably just go home and sleep.
Trust me.
Yeah, you're probably just not recovering properly.
And I'm always such a dick about it
shouldn't
when
eat
people are
20
asking, like, what's a
coffees.
good pre-workout? I'm like, 8 hours of sleep between the hours of 10 and 6, good hydration,
A
good
brisk
nutrition.
walk in the cold.
And
with
they're
a
like,
coffee,
fuck
yeah.
you, I want drugs and I want to externalize it and get supplements. I'm like, no, fix things.
Some pre-workouts have drugs in, don't they? Some like, do you remember that one, Jacked, but it was like Jack 3D?
No.
You don't remember this?
I've never taken, I mean, yeah.
It was one of the most famous pre-workouts ever. It was called Jacked, but it was Jack and then 3D. And it got found to have amphetamine analogues in. So, and got banned after a while, and then they brought it back without that in, and then everyone's like, it's not as good. Yeah, because they took
like,
the
no
fat
way.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're bringing a new one out with Coke in it, and that's going to be great as well.
I've got sensitive guts. I can't have that much caffeine. If I drink more than 3 coffees in a day, I'll have stomachache anyway. I remember once I went to, I was young, like just young. I went to Body Power Expo at Birmingham.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. And I got a pre-workout free sample called Hemo Rage.
Of course you did.
Of course you did. Took it and then immediately had to go home from the gym.
Because your face was itching and your hands were twitchy and you couldn't concentrate.
Oh no, I had stomachache and like toilet troubles for like 3 days. It was really bad.
Pre-workout?
No, I was in bed.
By
I was
my
literally
supplement.
in bed, like in pain, because caffeine is because it's a drug. It's absorbed through your stomach lining, and doesn't like go through like normal digestion processes, and it actually burns your stomach lining as it absorbs. And I've got a sensitive stomach anyway, so it's just like just burning.
Yeah,
for just like
I ain't doing that.
hours and hours and hours and hours.
I'll let
and
you
hours.
keep testing them pre-workouts.
Oh, I never did it ever again.
No.
That was the last
No,
time.
of course not.
I think that might have been the last time I ever took it in my life. I was like 17 or something, young.
Oh, that's good
Or
then.
18.
You've been gliding by on actual sleep from now on.
Yeah, I was at university. I remember that actually, but I don't remember how old I was. So what was the news article? What were we? I can't even remember what the news article was.
It was about Brits.
Oh, people waking up. People waking up.
Tangent! We're so good at them.
People waking
Well,
up.
actually hilarious.
That was it. I believe. I've told my morning routine, but I believe when you wake up, the quicker you stretch your arms and legs and drink a pint of water,
Interesting.
the better you feel, faster.
Yeah, I
You're going to
could
feel
try
like
things
crap
like that.
all day until you've done a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of movement, even if it's pottering around and washing the pots or just tidying up a few bits from the day before or having a little stroll with the dog or something. Just drink some water, because when you wake up you're dehydrated. If you don't think you are, you're wrong. Just drink some water. You know, like people say...
My two biggest variables for in the morning as to whether I'm awake, because I more often than not, and I might be saying that because it's just been summer, bounce out of bed in the morning, and that's for someone who, if I don't set an alarm, my body won't wake me up until about 10 usually.
Really?
I'm terrible for it. Like me as a teenager and me on a day that I don't have any clients in the morning or something, yeah, it's annoying.
But when your alarm goes off, you're on it.
Generally, yeah, like
that's good.
The biggest thing for me is the sleep. If I get in bed 8 hours, and as in like to go to bed 8 hours before, which is a bit hard when it's like 9:30, you're getting in bed to wake up at 5:30. But if I do that, I'll bounce out of bed at 5:30. It'll be a bit, and the way I describe it is it's just an entirely neutral feeling. I'm not like, yeah, let's go, let's destroy the day, but I'm not like, oh no, bed. You know, it's just, I'm like, okay, I'm up, whatever. But if I miss that, like last night I didn't get to bed because I finished at the gym at just after 10 and I was back in at like 7 or something, so I didn't get to bed until 11. And or then up at 6 for that really like messes it up for me. Like only 7 hours, which is mad. Yeah, and talking again about like the effects on like fat loss that has in itself. You seen a study about
Sleep.
Have you seen a study about sleep and fat loss? One of the ones.
I will have done.
It was
I
about.
don't remember specifically.
They took some case studies and had them in the exact same calorie deficit, and one group was consistently sleeping 8 hours a night between the same time period always, and the other group was doing 7 hours a night and then catching up with a big sleep on the weekend.
Okay.
And they found that the group who was, and this was without any resistance training, it was just a calorie deficit.
Okay.
So the group that was 7 hours a night and then catching up on the weekend lost, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was somewhere in the 80%. They lost muscle mass and the rest fat. Whereas the other group, it was something like 76% fat that they lost, and the rest was other things. Just from the only variable being an hour of sleep lost.
So despite the not going with the specific numbers, but the people who slept better lost more body fat and less muscle mass.
And more is an understatement. Like
it was
exponentially more. It was crazy. Yeah.
I would believe that.
Yeah, it's mental.
I would believe that.
I don't know why actually. I didn't go so far to look into it.
No, I would also say I would like to maybe look into that a bit more or see what the other variables were, because they must have had a poor protein intake. Because if you diet properly, even without resistance training, you shouldn't be losing any muscle mass.
It shouldn't be a...
Another thing... Go on, sorry.
Sorry, and that's why I corrected myself for the second one. Other tissues, they lost muscle mass. Sorry, they lost mass and size and weight. Wasn't particularly the rest being muscle mass. It was just weight.
Okay, that makes more sense. No, it's okay. We don't have the studies or anything in front of us, so I understand you're not going to get it exactly right. But I was going to say one of the other things they do in studies is they count glycogen loss inside muscles as muscle loss, because they do fat mass versus fat-free mass or lean body mass. Lean body mass or fat-free mass includes muscle glycogen, and when you go into a calorie deficit, you naturally lose, especially if it's low carbs or anything, you lose muscle glycogen. You do lose muscle size, you do lose weight, you do lose muscle mass, correct, but you don't lose muscle fibers, and you don't lose muscle size. You've lost intramuscular stores.
Yeah,
and it's
space within the muscle.
It gives incorrect conclusions to some studies on this group lost muscle mass. Did they? Did they? Or
did you record it wrong?
Or is there more variables and it's really confusing and actually hard to test? Yeah. So it's difficult, but I believe.
Which is the funny thing that I think is worth bearing in mind about a lot of studies is that we don't know really. Like everyone's like, "What's the answer to this?" And we're like, "Maybe this." And they're like, "But why don't you know?" It was like, because no one knows. And all we can do is test it, and
not black
keep
and white.
testing it, and yeah.
I believe what you say about sleep though as well, because sleep's like another version of vitamin D for your body in the way that it affects every single thing.
Yeah.
I believe there's not a single thing that's ever been studied about sleep where it's not been shown to be worse with a sleep deficit.
Yeah.
Like you can study people's memory, people's exercise, people's digestion, people's health, study whatever you want. If people are in sleep deficits, it's worse.
And that's an interesting thing, is that you don't need to know the arguments behind why sleep is better. We just know across the board that it is, so do it.
Yeah.
You know, and also I like sleep a lot. And I know I can't stay in bed in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed earlier. Sleep that way.
Yeah, we could go on about sleep forever.
We could.
I teach about it in my 6 Steps to Slim program. There's half a lecture
I thought so.
On sleep. Yeah, there's one lecture in the education system, and it's half about psychology and half about sleep, and it's quite interesting. If anybody's, I'll say this, and then we'll maybe move on to the next news segment. If anybody wants to learn everything you can about sleep, every single thing you ever want to know about sleep in the entire world, you need to read or listen to the book on Audible, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
You told me about that before.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. It's written really well. I listen to the audiobook mostly, and it's read by him, which helps. I also like that when the actual author reads it. And it's just got all the sleep. It'll just blow your mind with all the sleep information, and it'll convince you to go to bed earlier. It's legit.
That's all you need then.
That's legit. Are we ready? What's on the next news segment?
So next one is about an exosuit.
Do you know what that is?
I mean, depends what the context is. Go on.
So an exosuit that's been designed to help support human movement and posture.
This is like a metal suit that goes around your muscles, and it's like one of these. This one in the exact article's not. It's like a powerlifting suit.
It makes me sad.
It's like, you know exactly how powerlifting suits work, don't you?
You're like a bodysuit, yeah.
It's exactly like a bodysuit, yeah, where people at home might not know how powerlifting suits work, but to me, this is...
A powerlifting suit is neoprene, and it just holds so much elasticity that it wants to explode back into its original
to me,
position.
it's bare cheating. That's what
It literally is. It's
I don't
just,
understand how
how
it's
can
a
we
thing.
take powerlifting? It's basically just going sprinters, but stilts.
Yeah, or shoes that have got rockets on, or roller skates, like one person's on heelys.
Yeah, hilarious. If you've got
something.
sprinters, but cars.
Yeah.
And they'll drive instead.
When you go down on a bench press with a powerlifting suit on, people, they get into this suit.
They look
That's
ridiculous.
That's why they look like that. And then as the bar comes down, imagine the weight's coming down towards me, the fabric of the suit is stretching apart, and it's like you said, really strong elastic across the front. And then and then it goes boom, and the clothes help like elastic back forward and produce more force. This is a similar thing where it's got like a lower back tightness on it, and it's to help people with like lower back problems, lift things at work, etc. The reason I chose this is an interesting news article because I just want to talk about just cyborgs, because I just think we're starting with this, and soon it's going to be Iron Man.
Yeah, man.
Seen Iron Man
I'm there
#1?
for that.
That's the ultimate exosuit.
Did you say have I seen Iron Man?
Oh, you like superheroes?
I think I'm wearing
don't
Marvel boxers
you?
right
Are you
now,
really?
bro. Yeah.
You like superheroes, don't you?
I'm so meta, and you don't even know what that means.
What does
Comic book things you wouldn't know.
I'm not
But
in
I'm
the
here to
club.
talk about exoskeletons, definitely.
I'm not in the club.
Iron Man has a suit that is an exoskeleton.
That's what I mean.
And he doesn't wear it, it just comes off him and does his own thing. Nerds, back me up.
Yeah, it can shoot its hands off, can't it?
You know, yeah.
I've seen Iron Man 1, yeah.
That was in Iron Man 2, but cool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Then I must have seen Iron Man 2.
Look at you.
Look at me seeing
you cultured young man.
I've forgotten about it.
I'm proud of you.
I liked Iron Man as my favourite superhero film ever, and I've not made...
Interesting.
Although some Batmans were good.
Fair.
Fair,
but it's fun to hate on DC, so...
I don't know which is which.
There you go.
I really think though in Iron Man 1 what I really liked was Robert Downey Jr.
Oh god, yeah.
I think I liked him more. I think
that was the
he
reason
made the thing.
It succeeded.
Yeah, it was him that I liked.
And he's been the face of the MCU for all 10 years. But anyway, this is becoming a different podcast about
MCU.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. All the 23 films that are in that universe as a whole, as opposed to the other Marvel films.
What do you
like
think to
Blade.
the Avengers?
Very excellent.
Do you think?
I mean, if we're talking about what an emotion.
You just said very. You just said how pleased you look when you just said very and excellent. Like that's
hilarious. No, I
Very
think if we're talking about filmmaking, cinematography, storytelling, the ability to wrap up a story arc, the MCU is probably the best thing that's ever been put to screen, and the Avengers is a big part of that. But we were talking about cyborgs and exoskeletons, and I do have things I want to say about that. So,
go on then, go.
Is this exoskeleton, is its function to provide external help to people's joints that are pretty shit on their own?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, with the microphone.
Yes. Yeah, so it's supposed to help reduce fatigue, like in the muscles and such, and for people that like do heavy lifting jobs like construction workers
Interesting, okay.
or medical professions.
Interesting.
Might help some people with weak backs. You could also train and get a stronger back.
Well,
It might have
the
some
thing is that
applications.
we already have everything built in us, as in not external, internal skeletons, you know, our own skeletons, and then all the tissues that are connected to them, muscles and things that have the ability to do every job that you would want, and all you need to do is figure out how to do it. If you've got an issue, the worst thing you can do is to
pander to it.
Yeah, and if you're fixing a problem with a problem, if you've got a muscle that you're getting pain from because it's already not doing its job, and then you provide an exoskeleton, a crutch for it to rely on, it'll just deteriorate even more and rely on that forever. What you need to do is not do the things that hurt it and do the things that promote fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no to exoskeletons.
You're definitely right in that respect, 100%. I know that they're testing them in the army as well.
I'm going to say, for other reasons, sure, whatever. But if we're talking about
for like soldiers that can jump over buildings.
That's what film's that Tom Cruise did? Oblivion or whatever it was. No, not Oblivion. Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow is a good film.
Very good film. And he's got a little exoskeleton in that.
Does he? I don't remember.
And G.I. Joe, that's another good one. Have you seen that one?
No.
Channing Tatum goes bare fast in that. You're going faster than cars, bro.
I'm not a
He jumps through a train.
person. I'm not a film person,
I am
but
a
I'm
film
not.
person.
Yeah. I'm not a film person either. I've not seen an amazing amount of
I'm trying to
films.
think of other. Even Scrooge McDuck had an exoskeleton that was like Iron Man, and it had a little wheel that he wheeled around on. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
Are we starting a film podcast? Is this a film podcast?
It can
now?
be if you want it to be. It can be
This is a
whatever you
film
want it to
podcast
be.
now. Rebrand it.
Rebrand
Rebrand it. Get rid of this.
Rebrand
Go.
it. Put DVDs in there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's funny, isn't it?
Some Marvel posters on the wall. Yeah.
That's.
But what are your thoughts on an exoskeleton in regards to rehab?
Cyborgs.
let's say?
That's what I think. I think it's the start of the end. It's going to be Terminator 2 in like 50 years.
It is interesting. I was actually thinking about this in terms of what will be the next thing, because I was thinking about, and I was watching the Steve Jobs presentation with the iPhone when it first came out, and how that was
How long ago was that?
2004 or something, 5 or something like that.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
sure.
exactly, but I know it's not long. It's not long that it's absolutely crazy that it went from the iPhone
Oh, how-
1 with like
yeah.
a rubbish camera that did nothing, barely a touchscreen that works, and now it's this.
Can you remember when, like,
That's insane.
even if you saw like a facial recognition in a movie, you'd be like, technology. We've got it in his freaking pockets now. That's crazy scary. I don't like that.
It's got GPS, video, phone.
Yeah.
It's a light.
Yeah.
It's got
And then
all the answers to every piece of information ever recorded in human
Cash is
history.
slowly being tailored out to
Yeah,
the point
you
that
can you can double tap
literal
to pay.
monetary value of money. I mean, money in and of itself is only it serves as an IOU to gold, as
Yeah.
in a pound of gold, and that's so we've already removed ourselves so far from actual currency.
Yeah,
Now we
yeah.
use paper, and now we're moving that to something that is so influenced by everything in the world, like everything being online. That's just crazy to think that our entire worth won't exist in a physical form.
It already doesn't. All those zeros and stuff, like they're just flying around in bank accounts and
Yeah.
in stock
And
exchanges.
no, sometimes I get real deep into this stuff. Like I start thinking about how dystopian and maybe George Orwell it already is. Like if you boil it down to the bare principles, for the most part, people go to work to serve a function that helps other people so that they can get points delivered to them so that they can go out and use those points on other things that
Yeah.
they need, like
You
food.
could say points. That's
Whi-
an interesting way. To
And
think
that's
about
why I like to say it like that, because imagine it was like a scoring system
it.
instead.
Yeah, it is like that.
Which is exactly what it is. Some people go out and work harder and they train for longer so that they can work harder later in their life so they can
get
earn more points.
Yeah,
Because
Save
they worked
points-
harder
Save points for later.
in the system.
No, that's great. I like that
Crazy.
actually.
And then they come home and they distribute their points around the economy and where they want it to go. They want clothes, so they go here, and then they get those points, and then they want food, so they go here, and people get those points. And then those people that didn't work as hard or didn't do as much education or didn't have as good a start to life don't get as good a points, and it's influenced by how hard you work and where you were brought up, if you were dragged up, and it's so not in our control.
I think it's great. I like it.
Can we stay in this room forever?
We
Do we have to leave? Can I?
we talk about something like this, don't we? Where it's also called gamification. That's one of the theories. It's one of the psychological theories of what you're describing, where it can be productive, and I do this with my life, to imagine that life is a game, because it's not dissimilar to a game, and imagine that you are a character in the game and you've got skills, and your bank account could be points that are available to spend around, and you've got a strength skill and a health bar for how healthy you are.
GTA this shit.
You've got, and well, I've never really played Grand Theft Auto, so I'm not sure, but imagine you've got skill bars that you can build up, and then humans get a lot of fulfillment from achieving
That's
tasks.
how that
and-
works, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and you can treat yourself like a character in a game that unlocks more abilities if you learn a new skill. You unlock
put
new
yourself
areas of the
through
world
uni
if you
for
get
6
enough
years,
points.
and you're a doctor because you put the time in the game. Because
Yeah.
I always think about it as a simulation as well, and the thing I think about that is mad is that we already have all of the technology in the world to create a simulation as realistic as what we're seeing through our eyeballs right now. The problem being that none of it's formatted into the same thing. What I mean is we already have video games that are very, very good and open world games that let you go wherever,
Not
whatever,
quite
but
indistinguishable.
they're very, very obviously video games.
Yeah.
But then we also have like deep fake faces that
Yeah.
you'll see in movies that when they're done very well, like Hugh Jackman in Logan,
Yeah, you
he had a
can't tell.
deep fake young version of him, wouldn't know the difference.
No.
So they already exist, and then you already have like the computers that have the capability to harvest such like gigabytes or whatever the volume is of stuff you'd need. It just doesn't quite exist together yet. But what if it does, and we're already in it?
Yeah, that's real, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Do you know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I enjoy him a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard his argument against simulation theory?
I have, yeah. What is it?
Because people like Elon Musk and some really smart people say that there's a possibility we're in a simulation, and it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of physicists say that I'm just repeating things that I've heard people say. I don't really understand what this means, but they say that the universe is computational. Like if you knew the variables, you could put them into a computer and you could create a new universe theoretically. Like if you understood all the physics and if we had a grand theory of physics and
there was a
theory of
coding
everything,
that could output for it.
Yeah, because at the minute they can't unify the physics between large physics and small physics, and they can't come up with one grand theory of everything that says this is how stuff works in general. Yeah, things have different laws when they're bigger and smaller at the minute, and that confuses people. But if they could figure that out and then put that into a computer, theoretically you'd get a new universe. Neil deGrasse Tyson says that I might be butchering this very slightly because I'm not as intelligent as him, but he says that the possibility of us being in a simulation is very low because correct me if I'm getting this right or wrong, Beth.
Beth being the wisdom of all knowledge.
Am I getting it wrong already? Do you want to chip in?
I was just gonna say, he says chances of us like being a universe like in a simulation is quite low because we would already know about it. So there's chance that we're either the first to like create the simulation and then it go like down from there, or we're the last. So it hasn't came to us yet. Yeah,
because he says every simulated universe must be able to be at a point to create the next simulated universe. Yeah. And at the minute, we can't create a simulated universe. So that means we're either the first one that's going to create the simulated universe or the last one the next one will come from. But nowhere in the middle, because every single other one would have the ability to create a simulated universe. Which makes the odds not high.
He's only because it could only be... one and last of however many.
Yeah, because every other one can produce a simulated universe and we can't here. So it makes us the first that's going to create it or the next one that carries it on next time.
There's not enough between my ears for this.
I'm not smart enough to be talking about any of these things. No, earlier we were talking about debates that we'd not even listened to.
Because I get down these
You've turned up to talk about the news and you haven't even checked what's been in the news. I don't know what's happening on this
Donald
podcast.
Trump's died.
It's a shambles. He's got coronavirus.
I know.
That's
He's
real.
trying to die, bless
My
him.
iPhone gives me news updates when I don't want it to.
Oh, that's why. It's because I turned that off as well. I turned that off.
I want it to be off, and it's always seemingly been off for me.
Really?
Yeah. And then during coronavirus, I don't know if an update did something, but it started giving me news updates on the front of my phone here without me asking it to.
Mine did that. I think it was because it became necessary.
It might
and then I've just turned it off again.
Yeah, I should do that. Because
turned off that necessary piece
it came
of
up this morning, literally. I was at the gym and it came up CNN, Trump and Melania get coronavirus or something like that. And I don't... Okay, that's not great, but I don't want it... Well, depending on what you believe, but...
Politics.
I'm not into American
politics. Podcast. Go.
Switcheroo. We just swap these for skulls.
Yeah, we've just get rid of the Marvel shit we've just put up. Yeah. Let's go for politics now.
I don't know anything about politics.
I don't try to know anything about politics.
No, I don't. It's not my area, but just anyway, it's just giving me notifications.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
So what were we talking about? Exoskeletons.
Cyborgs, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so what are your actual opinions on, say if we're boiling that down to its rawest form that you might see more commonly, like a posture brace for your back or something? Like, what would you think of something like that?
If it helps somebody who can't be helped by anything else, good. If you use it as a crutch, not good.
Okay, good. Well said. Agreed. Moving on.
That's it, basically. Yeah. Like if somebody can't walk and now they can walk, good. Yeah. But if you could train to walk better and you're using it just because it's a fix, no.
Yep.
What do you think?
We agree on that.
And I think cyborgs.
I think you just think about cyborgs.
I just do.
Yeah.
I just do. Have you seen Neuralink?
Yes, that's very interesting.
Yeah, Elon Musk's chip in the brain.
I was talking to Claire about it, if you can remember her.
Yeah.
Because obviously her condition
Claire Ripley, shout out.
Yeah. Because obviously her condition is neurological.
Yeah.
And something like that is obviously working towards a direction that could potentially fix things like that. Like they're talking about fixing paralytics from the neck down. Could just be fixed by things like this.
Possibly.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Last month they unveiled some pigs. Unveiled. That's what I'm. Yeah,
pig.
I know. Yeah. That's such a stupid word.
Go home, Connor.
It's not even. That's not my word. I'm quoting the articles. It says unveiled. But it's like pigs that have got chips in the brain.
And what are they sitting up drinking tea? What?
They didn't do anything special. They just weren't dead.
And so that is good.
Yeah. So that. Yeah.
At this point, being a vegetable doesn't even sound
Sitting
that
up
bad if
drinking
that does
tea.
what if
That would
does
be
what happens.
hilarious.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah.
You unveil the pig and it just goes pip pip. You draw the curtain back, it's literally crossed.
That's what it should have been.
Pip pip. Yeah,
That's what it should have been.
If you'll excuse me. Hilarious.
That would have been good. But it's going to be Cyborgs, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we already have a little assistant that lives in his pocket rent-free and just stays there all the time.
Some people have it Apple Watch on their arm. It's
Yeah,
now
which
not
will-
with them, it's on them.
which will very closely sink further into the skin and be like something under the skin. That
That's
you can
exactly what I
contact
said this morning. Somebody said to me,
Yeah,
you know,
it'll
somebody
happen.
said to me, do you know one of these conspiracies? It's that when there's a coronavirus vaccine, they're going to put nanotechnology into it that like chip traces all humans. Obviously, the person was like half joking, and we were just talking about just silly things. But I said, no, it won't even be that. The government won't secretly chip us.
No,
They'll
because they
ask
can manipulate us
Yeah.
just like socially.
the Apple Watch 20. They'll just be like, you know that watch on your arm, but you can't wear it at work, and you also can't wear it in the shower or when you're swimming. You have to worry about the style. It gets caught on things. What if we could just put a little button there, and then the watch can be completely gone? You just press it. You won't be able to see nothing. It won't hurt you.
And
The
a little
screen will
lights
pop up there on your arm, and then you just press it, and it's gone. How do you
What
feel?
film is that in?
There's a film where they have to pay with their arm. Is that what you mean?
There's a film where they have a thing in their hand and it's a phone, and then and in the film he literally cuts himself open and like pulls it out from under his skin. But if you hold your hand up against glass, it fills the glass with whatever it is. You've got a little touch screen. And again, like in terms of like physical concepts that could exist right now, there's nothing that stops that from happening. It's just the accessibility of it to the millions that makes it impractical right now, you know?
Yeah, I don't think
It's
they
like
can
people are saying like hover cars and like
Yeah.
flying cars. Flying cars already exist. They're called helicopters, but equal and opposite reaction, you can't have them because if you're putting 2 tons in the air, you need that downforce as well. So you've got a fucking helicopter. You can't fly that a meter off the ground because it doesn't work. You've got it. That is a flying car. So things already exist to that capacity. It just isn't quite how we've seen it in Back to the Future, you know?
Yet.
But they already exist.
That's cool. I agree. I think there's not maybe technology to get like phones and communication in people like that yet. Is like the Neuralink's the first thing that hooks into the brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But-
no, for connecting it to the body, yeah, but simply just like, I mean, you could take the chip from your bank card and put it in your hand and have a contactless payment system right now.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. I think I heard once, I don't know whether this is true or not, that there's a company that had some chip put in people's hands and it logged you in and out of work just when you walked in.
There you go. And again, like
Well, that's true.
and I don't know if it's a problem or if it's just doesn't matter or whatever, but the thing is that I don't really see an issue with that because it is just, I mean, I'm a progressionist inherently. I like the idea of society moving forward, and that is, from what I can think, a good idea. It means I'm always going to have my bank account attached to me. I can't lose my card. What's going to happen? Someone's going to kidnap? No, that's not going to happen. So it only screams benefit so far. But then there's the sort of control from the powers that be that you can get caught up in.
Depends what happens to it, doesn't it? It depends.
Yeah.
There's pluses and minuses to everything. Like the internet, isn't it? When it came, it changed the world, but there's just pluses and minuses to everything.
Hell yeah.
There's a quote, and I forget who said it, but it's that that humans are the sex organs of the machine world, and that we exist only to give birth to technology, which will be the thing that wipes us out and then possibly continues after us if we create AI.
Stop.
Anyway, do you know what we'll need then? Iron Man to save us. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Cue Robert Downey Jr. Nice little his superhero landing. One knee, one fist. Deadpool said it best. No?
I've not seen that film.
Come on, nerds, where you at? You know you're a nerd.
Nerds Unite. There's people listening going, yeah, they loved it.
There's people listening.
loved it.
One person listening, clapping, thinking Iron Man, yeah, it's my favourite.
Yeah, loving your superhero.
And it's me watching later. I'm the
Info.
person.
That's, if you enjoy
And
it.
that's meta.
If you
don't know now what that means, then go figure it out.
in my non-comic book world, meta means higher level. Like there's a level to things, and then it's outside that level.
Yeah, kind of. So meta,
meta
is
thinking
like
is
breaking
thinking-
the fourth wall, or
Yes.
characters interacting like with, or being aware of themselves, or
Oh,
something
okay,
like
that's
that.
strange.
Or meta would be like if you've got like something in like a Marvel film, if it references another Marvel film or something in that film.
Oh yeah, because it goes
That's
outside the
meta.
current
Yeah.
box that it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like meta thinking is thinking about thinking.
brain.
That kind of business.
Big brain stuff.
News articles. What else is new in the news?
Last news article.
Last news article.
Look at us,
How
we
long
got through
how long
5.
have we been on the podcast?
Sorry?
How long have we been on the podcast? Have we got a time on it?
For an hour and
What?
nearly 15 minutes.
We thought this one had been a minute, yeah.
All right.
So, last news article is about eating insects.
Okay, good.
Eating and sex or eating insects?
Insects.
I mean, right.
Close pronunciation.
Hold my beer.
Close pronunciation there. Eating insects. Yeah.
Are we talking like dripping chocolate on your partner? Because yeah, cool, I'm there for that. But, or are we talking about chowing down a burger halfway through?
No. But elaborate. Ignore Will.
I know.
Ignore Will.
Ignore me.
So, there's this couple in London that have like a shed or something, and
A shed or something.
whatever it is, and they breed more than 500,000 mealworms and crickets for like people to cook and eat.
What?
500,000 mealworms and crickets. I don't know if that's that many though.
I'm gonna have a wait, right.
It's a lot in number, but they're small.
Recap this again.
Basically, the article and story, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, Beth.
And
it's
that's
about
all they eat.
No, it's about cricket protein and people using insects
Oh,
in
because
meals.
crickets are 100% protein, I think is the argument they're going with there.
I don't know if they're 100% protein.
That's the figure that gets knocked about, but
What?
no, it can't be.
It can't be 100% protein. That makes no sense. But
I think they are the densest in protein in terms of...
it's supposed to be a high protein
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Shout out to Pauline Wood when she went to wherever she went, possibly Thailand. She ate like fried crickets with like spices on or something. And she said it was nice. I said, really? It's not for me,
I
thank
feel
you.
like I've tried some stuff like that before. I would.
It's not for me. I don't eat anything that's an insect at all. I don't eat any sea insects or land insects. I'm not eating crabs, lobster.
No?
None of those bottom crawling, dirty devil sea insects. Like what's a crab or a lobster? It's an insect of the sea. It's the sea spiders, and I'm not going nowhere near
Yeah,
it.
but crab is 100. Is literally protein, bro. For cutting, if you're cutting,
I'm not going nowhere near.
I
any
used
of
to
it.
make a meal with crab.
This is
meat
just
when I
my
was cutting,
opinion.
right?
Everyone can
In
disregard
80
this.
calories, guess how many grams of protein it was? It was
Maximum 20.
20 exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That makes it
Yeah.
that makes it 100% protein.
There you go.
4 calories per gram.
You know
No,
these
I'm
things.
not eating any of it. I'm not eating crab. I don't eat anything from the sea unless it's a fish,
Okay. Okay.
and even then, not often.
But where do you draw the line? When does a fish stop being a fish? And start
When
being...
it starts to crawl around.
Oh, so if it lives on the bottom.
Yeah, if it's a dirty bottom crawling sea insect, I'm not going nowhere near it.
Do lobsters do that, or do they swim?
Good question. I'm not willing to find out.
Because you don't want the
No, I don't want it
possibility,
anywhere
yeah.
near me. I don't want it anywhere near me. I just don't like it
fair,
at
that's
all.
fair.
Don't like no bugs. I'm not eating any of them. But it's supposed to be good protein, isn't it? And it's.
I'm going to say I don't know enough behind this as to...
You can buy cricket protein
what the
powder and stuff, and
benefits
it's
are.
it's supposed to just be good protein. And it's supposed to also be easy to farm versus like cows and stuff. So it's not as bad for the environment, and you can get loads of protein like per like. You can fit one cow in this room probably, but you can fit like I don't even know how many freaking crickets. Maybe it makes more grams of protein and stuff. I don't want no part.
I
of
think
it.
just the density wise it is, yeah. Because it is just in the ratio of what protein's in it, it's like pretty high.
To me, it's disgusting.
And that's the end of that for you.
I'm picky with food though. I won't even eat chicken on a bone, so I'm not going near
No way.
insect. No,
Well, yeah, that's
I don't
fair.
eat chicken legs. I don't eat ribs. I don't eat pork.
You're missing out on a whole avenue of pleasure.
No,
there,
I don't
bro.
eat whole chicken, half chicken, quarter chicken. No, I'm not picking through carcass at the dinner table. I eat burger with a knife and fork,
Oh,
like
Christ.
a 21st century man.
And you put up with this.
I eat burger with a fork, like a 21st century man. I eat pizza with a knife and fork, and I don't even care.
Pizza?
Yeah, with a knife and fork. Joe Rogan said on his podcast that if you eat pizza with a knife and fork, you're not a man. I thought, I don't agree.
I do.
I like him, but that's what I do. I don't even mind. I don't want it all over my hands.
Maybe you're just smarter than the rest of us. You function on big brain stuff. Civilized in your little chair.
No,
You're just saying that because you're the one with the footstool, and I'm over here like a caveman. In my caveman slippers with paint on them.
I'm just picky with food, so people should ignore
I
me.
get
You
that.
don't want to eat what I eat.
In terms of insects, yeah, I guess even if all the arguments are there, the biggest argument against it is just why. Like, if when we consider enjoyment, accessibility, and
Accessibility is the one.
like, why?
Some people like things as
how
well.
many times
Some people
have,
collect
like-
stamps. You can eat a bug if you want.
Huh?
I'm just chatting. You go.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, if you enjoy something,
Yeah,
eat
it'd
it.
be, like you said, enjoyment, accessibility. Accessibility is a big part of it. It's meant to be one of the futures of protein, and maybe it is. Maybe if the world gets
Starts
to
harvesting.
yeah, maybe if
crickets.
it gets to the point where we can't, I don't know, due to pollution or whatever, produce a good enough amount of food, maybe we'll have to have cricket protein powder, and then I will shut up about it. But until I have to,
You're gonna make noise.
I don't want no part of it.
Gonna make waves.
It's projected that the worldwide market for insects is going to be 1.5 billion in 2026.
So it's projected to become a big thing.
Yeah, it's apparently it was apparently 112 million.
And is
last
that including, is that everything or just like for human consumption? Or do we not know? Because you got fish.
I'm going to be one of those Luddite
fishermen.
people when everybody else is on cricket protein. I'm that person that won't switch to the mobile phone. Or I still got a flip phone.
Again, progressionist, so
Stuff
I'm
like
there for that.
Yeah.
I like trying things and learning, and yeah. Look at you, setting your ways like an old Yorkshireman.
True Yorkshire.
Hell
through
yeah.
and through.
Hell
I
yeah.
like it how it is.
I got my way or the highway. Get this end voked. That sounds about as Yorkshire as they come.
Is that the end of the news?
Yep.
Thank you for the News Weekly. Thank you for coming back, Will Hukin.
Thank you for having me again next week.
Bethany, thank you for being on the camera, laptop, and for reading the questions. Thank you for listening, people at home. Give us a subscribe on YouTube if you want to stay up to date with the weekly health and fitness news. Hopefully we're positive as well and entertaining. Because the news is negative, but I hope they would. Well, if people didn't like it, they wouldn't have got this far into the podcast because we've been talking for so long. If people didn't like it, they would
Yeah, if you're here now, nice one.
Yeah, thank you. You would have turned it off a long time ago if we weren't entertaining or educational in
Yeah,
some way, I
yeah.
guess. Information, education, motivation to the nation. That's what we're
Exactly,
doing.
and it is for the people, so whatever they want to listen, let us know.
By the people, for the people. I feel like we need to be a proper news thing. We need like a banner that scrolls at the bottom and a camera that swings on an angle.
Today in the world,
This
there were
is the news
things
at 10.
that happened, and we're going to talk about things, and you're going to listen, and things happened, and things.
And back to you, Will.
And-
Now to Bethany with the news.
Can we do like an Ollie segment from Family Guy? And we can go, it's gonna rain, and then we go back to you. That'd be good. That's the next progression, the next natural progression, I'd say, of the podcast.
As
We,
we
we won't
improve the
force
studio.
it, but
If it happens, it happens.
that's where it's headed. We'll merge into cartoons. We should animate it. That'd be like.
Like the Ricky Gervais
Like a
podcast,
Ricky
you
Gervais
guys see that?
podcast. Okay, anyway, we're done. Okay, we're done. Bye, guys.
Thank you for
Thanks.
listening to people. Give us a like on Facebook as well if you liked the content or the information. And you can also send us a message through the Slum Society page. If it's a message to Will, I'll just tell him because it comes through to me. But I'll just text you about, well, you've got a message.
Or forget and then surprise me on the podcast. That's probably funner.
Yeah, I'll
Do
just
that.
ask you next time. Yeah, so send us a message. Thank you so much. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone.
Pip pip.